Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dylan Nossman here with Calf Kick Sports, and I am joined by a very special guest today. New GFL strawweight on Team London, Kelly Staddon, joining me today. First of all, obviously coming off Friday's draft, how are we feeling? How are we doing? Team London representing your home country. What's the vibe?
Very excited. Just to say though, the poster says strawweight, but on the actual draft, I am an Atomweight,
Okay,
so
good to know.
it just
They
come
got
out
some.
wrong.
Okay, yeah.
But
I know they got some
yeah, I'm
stuff
an
to work through
Atomweight.
right there.
Yeah. To be fair, most of my pro career so far has actually been at strawweight though, so
Okay.
it it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. Well, that's a
But yeah,
perfect.
very excited.
Well, I was going to say it's a perfect way to touch. They're obviously doing a new weight class system with this new league. Obviously, moving a lot of the weight classes up. 5-10 pounds, kind of trying to reduce weight cutting. Obviously, you come
Mhm.
from a nutrition background. You've been surrounded with weight cutting your entire life. What's kind of your perspective on that? Do you think that's an effective way to kind of manage weight cutting? I know they say if you're signed at a weight class, you're going to be that weight class and just a couple pounds up. So, what's your kind of
Mhm.
opinion as a fighter on that whole system?
Um, I think to be honest, like it's kind of proven that it doesn't really stop the weight
Hmm.
cutting because now the people that were doing fly are like, oh, I could potentially make straw now then, and
Yeah.
then they'll just push to make a lighter weight. So I think like it will just always be the case. I think
Hmm.
maybe these new weight classes might suit some people better. You know, like if you
Hmm.
naturally fell like a little bit too far out from your weight division, so like this makes the situation a bit easier for you. That might be better. Um, but yeah, in terms of preventing weight cutting in sports, I think it's just like it's more about just educating people rather than actually preventing it
Hmm.
because I think it will just always be the case that potentially there might be something that comes out a way of solving it in the future. But
Hmm.
as it stands, I think there's been many methods that have been trialed and tested and doesn't seem to work. So I
Yeah,
think just like
absolutely.
it's up to the athlete at the end of the day, isn't it? And if they're going to take the risk, then hopefully they're just doing it in the safest way that they can do. So yeah, that's my perspective from
Mhm.
an athlete and a nutritionist. I feel like I kind of get it from both perspectives.
Mhm. Absolutely. So for those who may not be familiar with the GFL, it's a team-based league launching in April. 6 teams, 2 athletes at every weight class. What is your opinion on the team format? Do you think it has potential to work? And what kind of drew you to the GFL? Obviously, they offer a lot of good benefits, 50-50 revenue split. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well.
Yeah, I mean, the team
Inaugural
aspect
season
is
way.
exciting for me. When I've in the
This is
past, like I competed a lot with judo, the team events was always the thing that was the most exciting and most fun because you were part of something. Like you wasn't just doing it. Like obviously you're fighting for yourself, but the team aspect, any team event in judo made it like that just that little bit more special because you're winning together. I'm not 100% sure on the actual format of the GFL. I don't really know how it's going to work out with like how much you'll actually see the team that you're in, and how much time you'll spend with that team. But even just the like Luke Burnett's already sort of created a group for us guys from the London team, and we've all said like hello
Mhm.
and like met each other kind of thing. So that aspect of it is exciting. And then in terms of like it just being an exciting platform to be part of, like obviously there's huge names that have been signed to it already, and it's a great platform for me. Like this will probably be the biggest platform. Well, it will be the biggest platform that I've fought on. So it's just a great thing to be part of, and I'm just really excited.
Mhm. Yeah, it's definitely an exciting proposition. I hopefully it can change the way that MMA is, MMA athletes are paid and that MMA is kind of viewed as a sport for sure. So you fought for multiple organizations, around Europe. Your most recent fight came for Hexagon, a French organization. I want to know what it was like fighting in an actual coliseum, a real, that true, gladiator style feel. Obviously on TV, it looked incredible. What was that experience like as a fighter?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It's got to be the best place I've ever fought in. Like
Hmm.
the walkout was the best walkout I've ever done. Like I fully embraced and enjoyed that moment
Hmm.
because it was yeah, like you did feel a bit like a gladiator. Like I
Hmm.
love that film. Like the film
Oh
Gladiator
yeah.
is one
Hmm.
of the best films there is.
Yeah.
So I was like, on the morning of, I was playing some of the songs that were on the playlist of that.
I love it.
um, and it was amazing. Like obviously well for me anyway, when I'm in the cage, I don't
Hmm.
really pay attention to anything that's outside of it anyway. It could literally be anywhere. But
Yeah.
the walkout I definitely did embrace and
Mhm,
enjoy.
mm,
And the whole set up with Hexagon was amazing as well. To be fair, they really looked after us, and the promotion itself was something good to be part of.
Mhm.
Like just the whole sort of like time since when I arrived until when I left, they looked after me, and it was good. I mean, I was hoping I won the French fans over. I did fight a French girl and beat her, so it wasn't it was a tricky one. But they still cheered me at the end. I got booed on the way in and cheered on the way out, so hopefully that's
Yeah.
a good sign.
Yeah, that's all you want. You know, you gain some fans in the opposing country. But I wanted to ask you a bit about Manchester Top Team. Obviously, one of the most well-renowned gyms in England now, which is just a hotbed for MMA. But you guys have quite a few characters there. People like Dennis Frimpong, you know, Lewis McGrillen, Jonas Magard. Who's one fighter that when you walk in the doors at a training session, you know your day is going to get a little bit better, a little bit funnier. You know, they're going to kind of bring up that mood.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of people that can do that. So I'm in the
Yeah.
best spot. Like it generally is the best. Like I've trained in a lot of places through my judo career and MMA, and it's honestly one of literally for that reason. If you're like, they welcome anyone. If you're feeling down, if you've got nowhere to live, like they will literally welcome you in like your family. So to be honest, Carl Prince is probably one of the best people to be around, and he's the coach. He cracks jokes throughout the whole session, so he definitely lifts your mood. But then in terms of the fighters, like it's hard not to be inspired around those people. Like they are winners. That the winner mentality is just different there. Like you won't hear anyone moan. Like if there is someone that moans on the session, like they don't last long.
Yeah.
If they're bringing like a negative energy into the room, they hang around for about a week and then they're out of there. So or they just get taken the mick out of until they change their ways.
Yeah.
And then they have to be positive. So yeah, you've got like Louis Lightning, like Louis Scott. He's like you could just watch him spar all day and probably take things from it. So I'm around the best people in terms of learning MMA. Like you've got Lerone Murphy. He takes like some of the sessions for us, and just the little bits of knowledge that they add like every time that there's a session is just you can be injured there for a couple of months and you'd still learn something. So yeah, so it's a very good gym, and yeah, like you said, it's probably one of the best in the country now, if not the best, I think, to be a part of, and that's why.
Yeah, without a doubt. So I wanted to ask you on that note of Manchester Top Team, Carl Prince obviously is the head coach of the London team. How awesome was that to know that you don't have to necessarily build those new relationships and you have literally the head coach of the entire team in the doors of the training room that you enter every single day?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. It definitely is probably an advantage to have your head coach there, and as well with Luke Burnett as well. Like he's a great guy. So
Oh, yeah.
I think in terms of, obviously I don't know the head coaches really of the other teams, but going off of what I do know, I think we're like the London team have definitely got two great people heading it up. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
As a nutritionist and female fighter, and with the sport of MMA growing so much, particularly with women, what are some challenges with weight cutting from a nutritionist perspective that female fighters may face that male fighters don't have to deal with, and maybe some unknown information for the average fan who doesn't know the weight cutting process?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would say, coming from a female athlete myself, I don't like making or giving us as females almost like an excuse, like, oh, we're going to find it harder because we have certain elements. Like I think if we're going to take part in a sport and we want to be treated as equals, then we have to face the fact that we have to cut weight the same, and it is what it is. Like we have to do it as part of it.
Yeah.
But there obviously is things that impact our weight fluctuation, and we do have to make a certain weight, so it will impact that. So we just have to be aware. So what I do when I'm working with my clients is I just get them to understand themselves as much as possible, because there are guidelines for what we may impact throughout the cycle of the month, but it doesn't necessarily stand for everyone. So I just get them to understand themselves first of all, and once they've understood how their body works and how their weight fluctuates throughout the month, then they can get a better understanding and have more control over their situation, because it's just a matter of planning ahead, really. There definitely is, like you said, for potential listeners that don't understand the weight cutting aspect, even things like the actual sweating off period. If, for instance, a female athlete is due to come on their period of that week, their resting core body temperature is naturally higher. Their heart rate is naturally higher potentially, and all these things do impact like their sweating capacity and how much fluid is actually retained in their body, and how hard that is going to be for them to lose in terms of like the usual weight cutting aspects that we do, like water loading and sodium reduction. Then aspects of it may be impaired because of where they are in their cycle of that month. So if there's a female athlete that isn't aware of that, it's not a case that they wouldn't be able to lose the weight. It's just the case that it adds an added stress, especially if it's like they're unaware, and then their weight just goes boom, and then they're like,
Yeah.
"What? Why am I 2 kilos heavier?" For instance, then if they're not aware of that, then it can definitely, especially if there's like a time limit to make the weight within, like they've only got like 2 days, and they don't know how to then manipulate that body fluid, then it can be a problem. So it's not that the problem's not there, it's just it doesn't have to be a problem if they can get on top of it, understand themselves, and make sure they plan ahead. But it definitely does bring some challenges, and it's not that it's not there. It might not be there for every female athlete, but some female athletes definitely do struggle more than others because of the fluctuations throughout the month. So it's just about understanding themselves and planning ahead for that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Thank you so much for that perspective. Again, those are some of the things a lot of people don't, think about leading up to an MMA fight, but they're very, very real for the athletes and everybody involved. So the GFL is introducing the 50-50 revenue split, which is basically whatever event, 50% of that revenue, not just profit, but revenue, is going to be split with the athletes on a percentage basis, pre-negotiated within the contracts. How do you think this could potentially change the way that MMA athletes are paid? And for you, as somebody with a pretty decent, internet following, how do you think this could change your financial career as an MMA fighter?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that the athlete is being taken into consideration more for that, because obviously without the athletes the event can't take place, because we are part of it. So that's
Yeah.
great. But if I'm honest, especially with like I've just always fought because I love it, and it's probably it's not the best standpoint in terms of like actually creating a career from something. So I definitely should be more on it, and this is why luckily I've got good people around me that help me. But I never really have got involved too much in the money side. Like my whole career as an athlete, especially when doing judo, I definitely didn't fight for money. We got very, very little, and it was a full-time job. So I've come into MMA, and it's basically me trying to understand that process of like how much I should be getting paid and what my worth is as an athlete, because I'm happy to fight for nothing. So fighting for an organization that's actually going to pay me a lot of money, it's almost like it's a bit surreal, to be honest. And I'm happy to be part of it, and I'm happy that athletes that have worked hard, like I was 30 the other day. I've worked hard my whole life, so I feel like I'm very happy to finally be being paid for something that I have worked so hard for. So yeah, in terms of like progression for the sport, definitely like a money is a big motivator for a lot of people, especially ones that are coming from maybe like disadvantaged situations where they've grown up with nothing. Like it's a big driver. Money is a big driver for some people. So it should definitely increase the people that are in the sport. For instance, like Lewis McGrillen, who goes to my gym, like he's signed to PFL, and it's just life-changing money for some people, and they've come from nothing. And it's nice because athletes are so humble most of the time. So the fact that we can earn big money from something and still be humble about it is really, really great.
I was gonna say, now Lewis can afford to go get a couple more air rifles to shoot some squirrels with, right?
Yeah. I love Lewis, but that's one thing. I'm all for
He's
animal rights, me.
no, no, no.
I
Me
can't
too.
be
He's
shooting
a
squirrels.
character.
He's like the
Yeah, he
loveliest and
is.
scariest guy that you'll ever meet. It's a bizarre combo.
Absolutely. All right. Last but not least, do you have any sponsors? Coaches. Obviously, we talked a lot of coaches and teammates, but anybody you want to shout out before the end of this interview, and any predictions on just the GFL season ahead?
Yeah, obviously a huge thank you to Carl Prince, my coach.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've started at Top Team, I've learned so much, and it is such a great place to be around. Like training can get hard, like very hard,
Mm-hmm.
and I never feel like I don't want to go into training. And I'm sure a lot of that is due to the environment that I'm in, which is great. So yeah, I can't thank Carl Prince enough, really, and my teammates as well. I'm surrounded by great people. Like one of my teammates, Sammy Jo Luxon, she's an incredible fighter, and she just
Mm-hmm.
teaches me everything just in drills while we're working together. And then my family for always supporting me. So I've got great people around me, which I'm very lucky for. And then probably a shout out to I've now signed with my a management company, Summit Sports. So they'll be with me on the journey. So yeah, just good people around me, and I'm happy and I'm excited to be part of it. So yeah. Just last thing I just wanted to say, like I think Team London, like we're definitely not here to just take part. We're definitely here to win. Well, I am anyway. I've definitely worked hard for this, and even though there's a lot of people on the platform, like we've got great people on our team that have been in the UFC and have done some great things already. I definitely have earned my place on this team. I'm excited to showcase the hard work that I have been putting in for so many years. So yeah, please get behind us, please support us, because yeah, we're here to win, not just take part. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, also, just to top it off, you can go find your fights on YouTube, especially that one at Hexagon. Incredibly impressive. So just to get a little hype going for the season, because I know you're definitely one of the most legitimate prospects in that Atomweight division. So thank you so much, Kelly, for joining me today, and can't wait to see you fight here soon.
thank you so much. Thank you.